Wallace Ford, a public administration professor from Medgar Evers College, and Kenneth Vecchio, Republican strategist and attorney. Ken, first, your response to James Comey suggesting it's highly inappropriate for the President of the United States to use this term.
I'm going to get directly to the rat comment by first making everybody understand the underlying matter. Even if you believe everything that Michael Cohen says and everything that the government says, Michael Cohen is not guilty of a criminal offense for the campaign finance alleged violations. And that's because if there's multiple purposes for making a payment during a campaign, such as protecting your family, protecting your 10-year-old child, your own reputation, there's no criminal offense for making a payment.
Except that the judge disagreed with you. But I see the point you're making. Keep going.
Okay, so why is Michael Cohen called a rat? Well, it's not just because in the mafia sense where somebody committed a crime and they got ratted out for it. It's if somebody breaches their confidentiality relationship with somebody, then you're a rat. So Michael Cohen is a rat because he breached attorney-client privilege, he breached his confidentiality relationship, and he let out information that Donald Trump didn't want to know. Thus the reason why Donald Trump, if he did direct Michael Cohen to do it, legally directed him to do it, but the confidentiality was breached. He's a rat.
Dr. Ford, how about it? I mean, Donald Trump is just using a label that a lot of us may use.
Well, I don't know if a lot of us, I don't use it, for example. But listen, Ken, he pleaded guilty. You're saying he's not guilty. He's the one that pleaded guilty, Michael Cohen. He didn't, nobody made him do that. Of course, he thought it was in his best interest, but he pleaded guilty to these actions. Now, the notion of lawyer-client privilege, now you're a lawyer, I'm a lawyer, you play one on TV, I play one on TV. But listen, the reality is that the lawyer-client privilege does not attach to a criminal activity. Okay, now if I confess to you, as you're my attorney, that's the lawyer-client privilege. But if we are engaging in criminal activity, the lawyer-client privilege doesn't. Well, you may disagree, but the facts are that it doesn't.
But whether we agree or disagree on that point, and it is a good one as well. What about the argument that Donald Trump should be entitled to use whatever sort of term he wants?
Well, he's already established every day almost a new low in terms of presidential communication. I wanted to share something with you, Ken, and with our audience. I'm reading this biography of George Washington right now. They said perhaps the best thing that he did as president was make it clear that presidents serve the people. Presidents are not ruling the people.
Let me get back.
This president has a very different vision of the presidency.
Let me get back on track here, okay?
Well, I think we are on track.
Donald Trump using the word rat is genuine human language.
Okay.
That's why people like him. That's why I like him.
Okay.
And the attorney-client relationship did extend because Donald Trump wasn't committing a crime with Michael Cohen. There was no criminal offense. The fact that he pled guilty is irrelevant and meaningless. They were putting the arm on him. They were putting the arm on him.
Okay.
So Donald Trump appropriately used the phraseology rat, and it's refreshing.
Okay.
People in America like to hear it.
It's the same as using turncoat or snitch or all the other terms.
But listen, I think yes, yeah, right, dirty dog, right? But the reality is, Ken, and again, I think we should, and I think the American people have a right to expect better behavior from the President of the United States.
I want realistic, authentic,
realistic, I don't know that that's realistic
behavior.
I don't think you would or I would teach my child, and I don't think you would teach your child to speak about people that way.
But you guys have both spent plenty of time in New York. Can't we just chalk this up to, look, he's a New Yorker, Rudy Giuliani's a New Yorker, Michael Cohen is a New Yorker. This is the way some people talk in New York.
David Dinkins is a New Yorker. I've never heard him speak that way.
How do you know David Dinkins has
because I work for him. Because I work for him.
That he hasn't used the word rat.
Okay, Mario Cuomo.
What's wrong with using the word rat? It's regular vernacular for somebody who's a turncoat.
No.
For somebody who tells on somebody, for somebody falsely accuses somebody, for somebody who breaches confidentiality. Donald Trump is a likable guy for those reasons.
Okay,
because people like the fact that he's authentic.
No, Ken. The reality is that
Times Square, he hangs out here, and he'll call some of these people rats and walking up and down the street making negative comments about them.
Authenticity doesn't mean that you lose class. Authenticity doesn't mean that you lose manners.
Your terminology of class, it might be classes, but not my terminology.
Okay, well,
Dr. Ford, what about the argument that, to Ken's point, that there are a lot of people who see Donald Trump, he is who he is when he uses these terms. We mean it like it. We may think it's not presidential or very classy, but this is an authentic.
In coming here today, I thought about that. And Donald Trump is not speaking to me, okay? I understand that he never was and obviously never will, okay? But Donald Trump is speaking to that 35% of people who believe anything and everything that he says.
50% of people.
Well, I don't know what math you're using this day. What base system is that?
The math that got him elected.
Okay, fine. No, that he he lost the popular vote, Ken.
Well,
you do know that.
That's because of
Here's another point,
California.
though, Ken. What about the
that's
what about
because
the
of the planet Earth. That's
aspirational-
because of gravity. He lost the popular vote.
Won the
I may grant you
Okay.
that between 40 and 45%, maybe even 50, like it when he uses this kind of language. But shouldn't we expect our president to aspire to something a little bit more classy, something a little bit more inspirational than rather?
David, I know it's taken a long time, but
not at all.
Look,
we should aspire for our president to act presidential in whatever terms that president feels is presidential.
Okay.
And America, en masse, likes him acting in this manner.
I feel sorry for the people.
him acting in this
I feel sorry for the people who truly believe in Donald Trump because he's lying to you and the rest of them every day.
What, you want
he's
him to
not
be a
lying
phony?
to me.
Would you rather he be a phony? Would you rather he be a phony?
I beg your pardon?
Would you rather he be a phony?
I'd rather he not be president.
Regardless of what language that he uses, isn't there
You
a
won't
problem?
vote for him again.
Regardless of what language that he uses,
you're
isn't there a
right. We
problem
agree on
that he uses any sort of pejorative term under somebody who is a government witness under his own Justice Department and special counsel? He's disparaging somebody who's working for the United States to bring justice.
Where you're probably going to, does this amount to witness tampering or anything that like? Absolutely not. All these types of charges are thrown about obstruction of justice, witness tampering. These are like offenses that the government tries to charge people with when they have nothing else to get them on, and they're so vague and ambiguous that it's almost impossible to prove guilt beyond a reasonable doubt.
Then why is your hero so upset? Why is your hero so
people
upset?
in the government, he's not my hero. I have no heroes except for myself and my son and my wife.
Okay.
But people all the time in government combat each other and use negative terminology against each other, whether it's the executive towards the legislative, towards the judiciary, or executive towards lower level executive. And that's what's happening here.
And Dr. Ford, I mean, look, if this were ever to become a trial issue, right, if Michael Cohen is a witness in a trial, couldn't the judge simply cure this by asking the jury, how many of you have heard the President of the United States refer to this particular witness in pejorative language?
Sure. Well, you know, someone who has pleaded guilty, okay, and now they're serving as a witness, the defense is always going to say, look, this person is just saying these things in their own self-interest. So that's not, I don't think that's a real issue, but I do think it's an issue that this President of the United States has demeaned the office, okay, and that takes that's a lot in this particular instance, because all he has to do is understand that he serves the people, he's not ruling. Remember in his convention speech, he said, I'm the only one who can save you. Okay, that is
well, you guys both always save this channel. Dr. Wallace Ford, Ken Vecchio, great to have you on. Terrific debate as always. Thank you. Still ahead, New York's Governor Andrew Cuomo just made an impassioned plea for legalizing marijuana. I wonder what Ken Vecchio thinks about that. Cuomo's legislative agenda is moving fast to the left. Ahead.
The Middle East,